Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, it's been a couple more months and I got some more pickups for you. So roll that intro. Now, if you've watched my previous recent pickup videos, they're incredibly long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start breaking them down into smaller videos because it just seems like they take forever to film and nobody wants to sit here and watch me for 30 minutes talk about toys and video games, I don't think. So the first thing I'm going to talk about that I recently picked up was the Double Dragon 3 manual for the NES. And Double Dragon 3 it's kind of a polarizing game. In my opinion, Double Dragon 2 is the best in the series. And when they went and came out with Double Dragon 3 when I was a kid, I was extremely excited. But one huge flaw in this game is that you have one life. You have one single life to beat the entire game. And it's relentlessly difficult. Like, most people can't even get through the first level. So, anyways, I needed the manual for my complete in box copy. So I picked up the manual. I think I got it for like $10. So Double Dragon 3 manual. The next game I want to talk about is a game I remember playing way back in the day for the Sega Genesis. And I remember where I played it at. My dad has a cousin whose name was Jeff. And he had two sons. And man, these guys had everything, it felt like, when I went over there. They had every awesome playset from the 80s. I mean, they had everything that they wanted. But they did have a Genesis, and they had a game called SWAT. Now, this is only a one-player game, but SWAT City Under Siege. Now, this game is pretty decent. So this was a very early Genesis title, and you can tell by a couple reasons. For one, it's almost like an arcade type shooter. And another reason was by the grid style pattern on the box. So if you look at this, you see these little grids right here, and that's how you know it's an early Genesis title, because all these early Genesis titles had this grid pattern on it. But I actually remember playing this at his house, and it's a pretty decent game. It kind of reminds me of like the Rolling Thunder, if you've ever played those for the Sega Genesis, but it's a pretty cool game. SWAT, City Under Siege. And it's basically like you're a police officer and you're in the future. So you're kind of just, it's a side-scrolling action platformer where you're walking through the screen and just shooting bad guys. It's pretty mindless, but every now and then I'll throw it in and play through it. It's a pretty cool game. But I just remember going over there and they had it. And I just remember playing it over there. So I had to pick it up for the collection. SWAT, City Under Siege for the Sega Genesis. Check it out. The next thing I want to talk about is a homebrew game. Now, before you guys start getting the pitchforks out, I'm not a huge homebrew lover, or I guess I don't really have many homebrew things in my collection because I try to keep everything authentic. And this is one of the games that I do make an exception for. This is actually the second game, and it's the sequel, but it's called Battle Kid 2, Mountain of Torment. Now, a lot of people kind of look down on homebrews, but I think if they're made this way, that look, you know, nothing like an authentic Nintendo game, that you know it's a homebrew and it's not going to be mistaken and you're not going to get scammed or anything like that. This game is fantastic. This is actually the sequel. I do own the original also, which is just called Battle Kid. Mountain of Peril. I'm pretty sure it's called Mountain of Peril. But it's a ripoff basically of the Mega Man engine. But this dude named Savak made this game. And I got mine from Retro USB. But, I mean, he goes to so much work to make these games. And, I mean, he makes the instruction booklet and everything. So, it's incredibly detailed, just like the old NES style instruction booklets that you get back in the day. Tons of pages, tons of photos, strategy, shows the bosses, the enemies, the pickups, the items that you can get. It's just an incredible game. And if you want a challenge, this is the game, because this thing is very difficult. I'm not exaggerating. I think the first level of this game, I died like 400 times. I know it sounds crazy, but the game is literally just memorization, and it's a side-scrolling platformer. So, if you guys get a chance and you do like a challenge, this is definitely a game I think you should check out. It is difficult, but it does have save points and mid-save points through the levels. Plus, there's challenges you can do, and there's tons of replayability here. So, if you're able to get your hands on these, and I think you can still buy these from retrousb.com, and they're a pretty reasonable price also. So, if you do get a chance, check it out, because this is a great game, and it's one that I wanted to put in the collection because I like Mega Man, and I like Mega Man style games, and this is just a Mega Man style game, but like on steroids. It's incredibly hard. So if you guys get a chance, check it out. Battle Kid 2, Mountain of Torment. Now I want to talk about a movie that's kind of old, and I'm sure maybe you guys have seen it before, but when I saw it, it just drew me in and just really captivated me because, for one, I was a huge fan of the game that this movie is based on, and two, there were some actual people that were in this movie that I actually communicated with and actually had some things signed by them, and they sent them to me. So it's a movie called Ecstasy of Order, The Tetris Masters. Now, long story short, this is a movie about people who are extremely obsessed with Tetris. And it sounds crazy, but I knew two people. Well, I knew one person that was incredibly obsessed with Tetris back in the day, and it was my dad's friend's wife. No, I actually remember her name now. Her name was Tanya, and she played Tetris non-stop. So this movie is about basically the best Tetris players in the world, and they all get together for a tournament to see who is the best Tetris player of all time, pretty much. And it's made, and I think it's directed by a guy named Robin Mahara, who actually got third place in Nintendo World Championships back in 1990. And there's a guy who actually won the Nintendo World Championships, and his name is Thor Ackerland, and he is in this. Plus, I have a couple things signed from them, because it was kind of like a Kickstarter thing where they wanted to, fly everybody out, so they gave away some merchandise and signed some stuff, and you could actually buy it to help fund the trips. So I actually helped them out a little bit, and I got my copy early, and this is the first edition DVD release. Fantastic movie. If you like Tetris, watch this, because these people are so good at Tetris that it'll blow your mind. So if you guys get a chance, watch this movie if you haven't already. And if you have, you know what I'm talking about. There's a ton of special features on here, but it just goes into the depths of how serious people are about Tetris. And man, they are serious, just let me tell you. So if you guys get a chance, check it out. Ecstasy of Order. So the last thing I want to talk about is a couple toys that I had picked up. And as you guys know, I'm a huge G.I. Joe collector, and I know it's not the main focus of the channel, but I love showing you guys G.I. Joes, and maybe you guys will be into them also and start collecting a couple of them. But I actually picked up two. The first one is a 1991 Cobra Ninja Viper mail-away figure. Now, this figure is incredibly hard to get. He actually came as a mail-away only, so you could only mail away for him. He is just extremely hard to find. And there's a couple different versions. If you mailed away for him, he would actually come with this file card and the figure. Some people who mailed away actually got a couple swords. So there's actually like 3 different versions of this guy. There's one with just the file card and the figure, which is the one I have. And then there was a version that actually came with 2 swords. So And there's another version that actually came with 2 different color swords. So there's a ton of completionists out there that want every single variant of him, but he's incredibly expensive. And the only reason I was able to get him is because my buddy Daniel, who runs a flea market in town here, came across him when he bought a collection, and he gave me first dibs on him, and I could not pass him up because I would have found this guy. He's that hard to find. And like I said, you had to mail away to get him. So it wasn't like you could just go to the store and get lucky and find him. You had to mail away a couple bucks and some flag points, and they would send you the Cobra Ninja Viper. And he's basically a Storm Shadow ripoff, if I'm honest. He's just a different color. So it's basically Storm Shadow, but they just swapped the white out for teal. And there you go. You got a Cobra Ninja Viper. Hasbro was notorious for color swapping and changing characters and making variants and things like that. So the Cobra Ninja Viper. I don't honestly know how much he's going for now, but I mean, if you guys collect G.I. Joes, you know how hard he is to get. And if you don't, I honestly don't know how much he's worth. But easily a couple $100 if I had to guess. The next figure I want to talk about is another figure that I never would have had if it wasn't for Daniel. In the same lot that he got the Ninja Viper, he told me that he actually picked up a figure that I had been looking for a long time. Now, back in like 1987, they started a mail-away figure called Steel Brigade. And there was a couple different versions of them. Well, fast forward a couple years later, in 1992, they redid the mail-away offer and changed the color on him and made him a gold version of him, which a lot of collectors in the community like to call a gold head. Now, he's probably one of the rarest figures in the entire line. Incredibly hard to find, especially with his gold not wore out on his belt and on his helmet. So he is incredibly hard to find in general, and finding him in good shape is even harder. So Daniel made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I picked him up for the collection. Pretty much a holy grail piece. He did come with some weapons, and I do not have those, but I will be trying to look for those, and if I can get a deal on them, I'll get them and add them to him, because he comes with a backpack and a rifle, and they are not cheap. I've seen the rifle and the backpack alone sell for over $100 a piece. So he's incredibly expensive, but I got the hardest part out of the way, in my opinion, which is the figure in great shape. So shout out to Daniel for giving me the hookup on that. And it's a holy grail piece. So there you go. The Gold Head Steel Brigade. Very tough piece to find. Well, there you go. Some recent pickups that I picked up from my collection. If you guys have anything that you added to your collection, leave it down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep on reminiscing, baby.
悪の組織愛を追い詰めろ。五感で戦え超サイバーアクション e スワットメガドライブから。